back to Lion Serpent Media, Gatekeepers, Instigators, and Players. Today will be a segment on World War I. We will be going behind the scenes and taking a look at those famous international bankers to see what their involvement was during this time. Now, at the start of World War I, the German Rothschilds funded Germany, the British Rothschilds funded Britain, and the French Rothschilds funded France during the war. Now, they also owned three papers during this time: Wolf, Havas, and Reuters. Now, they used Wolf to propagandize the people and to manipulate them to be in favor of this war. Now, something else was going on in America at this time. At the inauguration of Woodrow Wilson, he was visited in the White House several days after that by a special law firm, Guggenheim, Untermeyer, and Marshall. Now, what they proposed to him was a blackmail. Yes, see, Woodrow Wilson had an affair when he was a professor with another professor's wife. So they told him he needed to pay a sum of $40,000 to keep them quiet. Guess what? Woodrow Wilson did not have $40,000. They said, okay, you don't have the money. Well, when you get ready to announce your appointments or select your appointments for Supreme Court Justice, we need you to appoint Louis Brandeis, which is an Ashkenazi Jew, of course. And when that time came around, he appointed Louis Brandeis to the Supreme Court. Now, Louis Brandeis will go on to play a pivotal role in what's going on in World War I and how the Rothschilds acquired Palestine. Now, during the middle of the war, Germany was winning because they were getting more funds than the opposition. But they did something interesting. They offered Britain an armistice that required no reparations. Yes, no reparations. Interesting. So as this armistice went over to Britain and they were considering this armistice, Louis Brandeis' time was up. He was time to play his role. So what did he do? He sent over a Zionist delegation to Britain, and they told him that they would get America into the war. If they did this, would you give Palestine to the Rothschilds? Britain agreed. Yes, we will give Palestine to the Rothschilds if you get America into the war. So, on April 6, 1916, America entered the war. Now, what did the media do in America? Just like the wolf propagandized the people, well, America was propagandized. At first, we were on Germany's side. We were pro-Germany. And then once we got into the war, they manipulated the American people. And they told them that, you know, Germany was killing Red Cross nurses, cutting the hands off of babies. Does that sound familiar? Because they do nothing different. They repeat the same things over and over and over. Can you remember when Arab Spring was taking place and they were uprooting all these leaders they had put in place? What did they do with Gaddafi? What were they telling us in the media? That he had rape squads, that these people was using Viagra and raping all these people, which was lies, because there were investigative journalists over there on the grounds at the time, and they said these were lies that they were telling to the American people to do what? To have us in favor of moving Gaddafi out of office. Well, back to World War I. I just wanted to let you know that the Lion Serpent Media do nothing new. They commit the same offenses over and over and over against the people. Okay, so now that America is into the war and Britain had agreed to give Palestine to the Rothschilds wanted something to state that, you know, you're not going to renege on this deal. So the French British Secretary Arthur James Balfour, he wrote a letter which was later known as the Balfour Declaration, in which their government basically acknowledges and accepts that Palestine will be set up as a nation for the Jews. So Palestine was given to the Rothschilds when the war was won. Now, something else was interesting going on in Congress with this lying serpent media. And let's listen at what Congressman Callaway had to tell Congress in regards to what was taking place in America with the media. Now I'm going to read to you from that famous book, The Synagogue of Satan. Let's see what they had done. As United States Congressman Oscar Callaway informs Congress that J.P. Morgan is a Rothschild front, taking control of the American media industry. In March 1915, the J.P. Morgan interests, the steel, shipbuilding, and powder interests in their subsidiary organizations got together 12 men high up in the newspaper world and employed them to select the most influential newspapers in the United States and sufficient number of them to control generally the policy of the daily press. They found it was only necessary to purchase and control 25 of the greatest papers. An agreement was reached. The policy of the papers was bought to be paid for by the month. An editor was furnished for each paper to properly supervise and edit information regarding questions of preparedness, militarism, financial policies, and other things of national and international nature considered vital to the interests of the purchasers. Now, this media manipulation goes back even further than this. There was a preeminent journalist, Mr. James Winston. He was given a banquet, and at this banquet he surprised everybody what he had to say. He just spoke so candidly about this. And listen to what he had to say about the media during that time. This was in 1901. There is no such thing at this date of the world's history in America as an independent press. You know it and I know it. There is not one of you who dares to write your honest opinions, and if you did, you know beforehand that it will never appear in print. I am paid weekly for keeping my honest opinion out of the paper I am connected with. Others of you are paid similar salaries for similar things, and any of you who would be so foolish as to write honest opinions would be out on the streets looking for another job. If I allowed my honest opinions to appear in one issue of my paper, before 24 hours, my occupation would be gone. The business of journalists is to destroy the truth, to lie outright, to pervert, to vilify, to fawn at the feet of Mammon, and to sell his country and his race for his daily bread. You know it and I know it. And what folly is this toasting an independent press? We are the tools and vassals of rich men behind the scenes. We are the jumping jacks. They pull the strings and we dance. Our talents, our possibilities, and our lives are all the property of other men. We are intellectual prostitutes. Wow. And the same thing is taking place today. When we tune in to CNN, MSNBC, Fox, these are all intellectual prostitutes used to propagandize the people, to tell lies. Look at what they've done to Trump. They tried to basically destroy this man. They wanted to paint him as a racist, that he was going to turn America white. And those things were further from the truth. You know, this is what they do. Someone comes into office who's totally against what the deep state is doing. A person trying to save America is the enemy of the elite. And that is what's truly going on with all this Trump derangement syndrome. They have to make him hated, vilified, because he is destroying their agenda. Well, we will continue to look at things behind the scene and current events that's taking place today. just to show you that nothing is new under the sun. Everything that was taking place in the past is taking place today. Thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you next time.